Goody goody, everyone. This is Dayhawk bringing to you my review of episode 3 of Kamen Rider Revice. Uh, the the episode was meh. Um, and the overall summary of it is Sakura and her friend. What's her name? I Aika. Yeah, Aika. They get kidnapped by this man, and the whole goal was to get Icky to surrender the stamps. So give me the stamps and I'll trade you the girls. That was the deal. And he defeated the monster of the day, and that's it. And of course you're gonna say, my lord, you're missing the other parts. Don't worry, it's getting there. So I'm just gonna get the overall summary out of the way so that way I could get into the meat of the situation, which is my friend, and I knew it's gonna happen. You see it sprouting before our eyes. Daiji. At the very end of the episode, he said, I don't need your thanks. And you could see in his expressions during this episode, it's like towards the very end, you could see the anger and the jealousy, and like, ooh, okay, this is getting good. But I will leave my words to the very end. Um, and I'm just gonna concentrate, sorry, on Daiji, because he's getting interesting in my opinion. Um, when we first get started with the episode, you see Daiji talking with his mom, who is still in the hospital, and he has a problem because Phoenix wants Iki to go work with them, work for them, because as you know, the Revice driver is Phoenix property, okay? And he is trying, well, the company through Daiji is trying to make him sign this contract for him to work and officially use the driver. And so he's talking with his mom, and we get like a brief flashback of him in episode 1 where he is super nervous. He got scared. He had the driver and the stamp in his hands, but he could not transform because he was afraid that he will unleash his own demon. He was scared, and I don't blame him. I do not blame him at all, because after you witness something like that, I mean, let's be honest, but at the same time, you're placed as the leader of your squad, and as a leader to your squad, you have to at least try to show no fear to your troops, and at least, yeah, you're scared, but at least you're pushing forward to fight against the enemy. But you saw Daiji frozen, and to the point where you saw him like drop the driver and the stamps on the floor, and seeing his older brother take something that is was supposed to belong to him. That's kind of the kicker right there. And Icky wasn't thinking. He was thinking about the people getting to safety, saving them, and And I don't blame Iki for that. It's not like he took the driver and the stamp and took it for himself. It wasn't like that at all. You know, it was in the moment, and he had no choice, especially after seeing his mom getting injured by this monster. And so it leads into, and it's funny because as those two were talking, it cuts into the scene where apparently these two people are after um are after the family's bathhouse because they want to tear it down and replace it with a mall. And this scene is kind of silly and stupid, and I'll tell you why. Why we why on earth is Iki's father willing to sign away the bathhouse to these people who are going to tear it down and replace it with a mall? Why? Because you see him in the scene all tied up due to maybe his other family members and maybe customers who's been there for a long time. They don't want to see it get torn down. And Icky was like, "No, I'm not signing this. I'm not signing this. This is my family's bathhouse. We've been here for X amount of years. There's no way in hell I'm gonna, he or I or any of my family is gonna sign away, our birthright, whatever." And of course, it got interrupted because Sakura called Icky because the dead men were attacking the shopping area, whatever. And so that leads to Icky and then meeting with his sister, and apparently Akira, who's like, hello, hello. So apparently they knew each other, and looks like Icky has a crush on her, and whatever. And that's where, in the midst of the chaos, that's where the girls get kidnapped, and they end up leaving. Now, let's see. This is without any notes, whatever. This is just raw, and I'm just going off by memory, so hopefully you could forgive me on that. I'm trying to remember things, but again, so they get kidnapped, they battle the monster, and Daiji. So after they tried to defeat the monster, but they failed. They go into this warehouse, and then Daiji was there, and they were trying to devise some kind of plan to rescue them. And I think Eki suggested that he should go in there alone and try to rescue them. And again, see the reaction on his face. He is scared. He is scared because and so what ended up happening is, instead of trying to devise some kind of plan to go in there and try to rescue the girls, his plan was to go back to Phoenix headquarters and to get a couple of stamps in exchange to, rescuing the girls. So he goes back, and George ends up handing over two stamps, the mammoth stamp and the pterodactyl stamp. And this is the part that I enjoy the most. As he was about to leave the building, he sees a box, and in that box is a new driver. Now, we all knew for a fact. We all know. Sorry, we all know for a fact that either Daiji will become a writer. He will become a writer, but it's too soon, and and if he ends up becoming a writer right now, for say, all that buildup of him feeling jealous and hate towards his older brother will be for nothing, because he didn't get the driver that he was assigned to, but he has another chance. So that situation, that scenario is thrown off because he received his second chance. Okay. And while he was holding the driver, again, look at his reaction. Look at it. Look at him. He's just like I don't know. It's difficult to explain, but if you already seen the episode, which I'm hoping that you did, you know what I'm talking about. It's like getting the Holy Grail or something like that. Like it's like you finally have something that you wish you had a long time ago, but now you had it. Now you have it in your hands. And he's like, he asked the commander, either the commander or George, hey, can I use this? Can I use it? And guess what? I mean, George and the commander gave Daiji they gave him the double burn. They gave him like 2 low blows. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what they said. George gave the first blow to him, saying that you, the one who froze and didn't become Kamen Rider Revice, that you, the guy that froze in fear, you. And the commander, he said, this is not about your personal baggage. It's about saving people and destroying the dead men. I'm like, wow. So I think the commander saw through him, and that's why he said that to him, because he kind of figured out, wait a minute, this is becoming a writer. It's not about your personal issues. It's about saving people and helping others. Like, yeah, and for George to just like flat out just, you, the same guy that froze in that arena or that gym, whatever, and you didn't transform and all that, you really? I mean, if that doesn't give him a reason to turn, I don't know what is. To be honest, this is just my opinion here. Because if ever me, I'll be hurt, even though they're pretty much giving me, and this, if I was in his shoes, the harsh reality of what happened. Because if I froze and I couldn't be able to transform, and I see another driver and be like, hey, can I use this? And I have this guy telling me like, really? After what I just saw last time, I don't think you're suitable to become a writer. And your own boss, your own commander, it's like saw through me and like, no, this is about helping people. This is not about solving your problems. I'm interested on your comments down below too. Like, what would you do in Daiji's position? what would you have felt when those two people were telling you that? I'm curious. I'm seriously curious. But again, more stuff is planted. Yes, it's like the water. It's like sprinkling more water into the ever-growing seed. And so Daiji comes back, and guess what? In my personal opinion, it was so stupid for his part, but at the end he gets it back. So he returns from the Phoenix building, and he gives up one of the stamps, which was the pterodactyl stamp, hoping that these demons will give their word and release the girls, but no. So one of the lieutenants of the sorry for the noise. It's just there's nothing I can do. Um, um, so one of the lieutenants gets the pterodactyl stamp, and what do you expect? He gets beaten up and thrown away, and that's where Daiji gives him the mammoth stamp, and that's where Icky and Vice defeats the monster, and they rescue the girls. Now, after the battle, he picks up the pterodactyl stamp, and here's the part that to me was like not the icing of the cake, but the wheels are finally turning. You see the two girls thanking Icky for saving them, and you see Daiji looking back after he picked up the stamp, and Icky was giving props to his brother, saying that because of you, this wouldn't happen. Thank you for your help. But that's when he said to his older brother, I don't need your thanks. I don't need your thanks. And he leaves. And again, look at his reaction. He is starting to hate. Well, hate may be a strong word, but you can see the frustration and the anger on his face. And you can tell, like, it should have been me. Like, if Icky should be where I'm at, and I should be where Icky's at with the two girls, and not necessarily get all the glory, but it's just, but it's happening, folks. It's happening, and we'll see what's gonna happen next week, but the thing that I'm worried about the most is that they might this is the term, blow their load on this so quickly. Like, no, it's not right. Let it simmer. Let it cook a little bit more. Because the writer, the people who's working on this show, has an interesting situation on their hands in concerns of Daiji. They could either have him be one of the followers of the dead man, one of the volunteers, and get a stand from them and unleash his demon. And Ikki destroys it, and he gets saved. And Ikki's like, I love you. You're my brother, and I'm sorry that I took something that belongs to you, and that's that sort of thing. They can do that, but I don't want them to do that. I want them to go beyond that. I want the writers to be like, maybe I have interesting scenarios in my head right now. Daiji can still join the Deadmans, but either as one of their lieutenants or I had this brilliant idea. He could break into Phoenix, get the driver, and then join the Deadman. Ooh. Well, that's a good one, right? Because that way he could take his quote-unquote vengeance on Ikki for taking something that shouldn't have been his in the first episode. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think? Because they have something that it could be really good, but it could either be short-lived or it could suck badly. Okay, it would suck badly. So that's why I want them to play this out carefully. You already planted the seeds, and you're seeing it firsthand with Daiji. He's getting his fear, and his fear is turning to anger, and his anger is turning to hatred. Yes, I'm a Star Wars nerd, you could say. But yeah, so they're sprouting right now, but let it simmer, let it play out. We all know he will become a writer someday, in the middle of the arc, whatever. It's just that me personally, I want to see Daiji join the Deadman group, either as a lieutenant, one of their lieutenants, or being their writer. He breaks into the Phoenix building, gets the driver, and joins the Deadman, and quote unquote get his revenge on his older brother for taking something that was supposedly belonged to him. That's a good story arc for Daiji. And how would Ikki handle the situation? Because this whole thing about Kamen Rider Revice is the main idea, the main point of this whole entire show so far is about family. It's about family. And Ikki threw away his chance to become a professional soccer player for the sake of helping his family and running the bathhouse for them and with them, because someday he will inherit the bathhouse. And Ikki, as far as I know, he's a loyal family man who is willing to do anything for his family. So it's going to be very interesting for him to fight his younger brother and how he will be able to handle that situation, But I don't know. When it comes to Sentai and Kamen Rider writers, I don't know how. I don't know. It's a good idea, but will they do it? That's the question. Will they do it? And I don't want like an easy way out in terms of, Daiji goes to their dead man's base, right, and gets the stamp, and then he unleashes his demon side, and Ikki destroys the demon, and Ikki and Daiji have a heart to heart conversation, and that's the end of it. I don't want that. To me, that's an easy way out, and I don't want that. To have to have like a good storyline, which you already have established right there, that a civil rivalry, it, again, let it cook a little bit more, and hopefully my suggestions will come true, hopefully. But I don't know about these writers, man. I do not know. I seriously don't know. Also, if you notice too, Daiji didn't give his brother the pterodactyl stamp. I think he's keeping that for himself. I don't think he's going to give it back to Phoenix anytime soon. I haven't seen, in the previews, I haven't seen Daiji giving Ikki the pterodactyl stamp, but I believe he's just keeping that one to himself. Again, what's that telling you? Overall, like I said before, set aside the Daiji stuff, which I thought it was amazing. It's just the search and rescue and all that jazz. It was meh to me. And at the very end of the episode, the guy who what's his name? The guy who took the two girls hostage. One of the interrogators from Phoenix was asking him where is the gorilla stamp, because he assumed that he had it or something, and he's like, no, I had a different type of stamp, and I was hired for something else. And at the very end of the episode, you get to see two of the lieutenants and the leader. She was holding, I think, either the gorilla stamp or something else, and you see this person, I think, who is a woman, and you see her one of her foot with the diamond sandal, and that's where the story ends. Yeah. I think that's it. If I missed anything, please do leave a comment down below. Give a like if you like it. Give a like if you like what I'm doing, and I will see you all on the other side of oblivion. Johnny!